be. This is Middays, and I'm Mandy Gunasekara, filling in for Gerard today and taking you from the morning to the afternoon. So glad you have joined us and tuned in here at the Element Wealth Studio. If you're thinking about or planning for retirement, do you have a plan? Go to myelementwealth.com or call 601-957-6006 to let Element Wealth help you find your balance between income, growth, and guarantees. Also, a reminder for folks who are listening, you can text in your thoughts or questions at the C Spire text line 601-879-4395. Please don't text and drive, but do be a part of the conversation. All right, I'm so excited for our next guest who has joined us. We have Dennis Porter. He's a friend, he's a colleague of mine, and he is the CEO of Satoshi Action Fund, an organization focused on state advocacy to support and promote Bitcoin mining and Bitcoin in general. Dennis, welcome to the show.
Mandy, great to be here. Thank you so much for having me on again, and it's been an honor to be a friend of yours for over several years now, working on Bitcoin, so excited to chat further about it.
Yeah, I do. I have to let the listeners know or remind them, they may have heard me talk about this before, but I actually met Dennis for the first time when I interviewed him many years ago on SuperTalk. I wanted someone to come on to talk about Bitcoin. It was still very early on, especially in the SuperTalk vernacular, and we brought Dennis on, and from that we joined forces and have been doing a ton of work at the state level trying to advance Bitcoin. But Dennis, you've been engaged. You're an OG, as they say, in the Bitcoin space. What did the outcome of this election in particular mean for Bitcoin today and its future potential growth here in the United States?
Yeah, it's a really great question. You know, when I started to advocate for Bitcoin, taking just like a quick step back, it was a time when, you know, FTX was collapsing. There was all sorts of trouble in the space. And so there were a lot of questions and concerns around whether there should be political support for this technology. And yet our team continued to fight and advocate for the benefits of Bitcoin and to help lawmakers and regulators understand the value of this technology and why it is just so in alignment with American values. And so I couldn't be more excited to see the outcome of the 2024 election, where a number of different members of Congress were advocating for Bitcoin, were fighting for Bitcoin, and even the next president of the United States, President Trump, will be a pro-Bitcoin president. And so I think just 4 or 5 years ago, people thought that this would have never been possible, but things have changed very, very rapidly. And now going into 2025, we will have one of the most pro-Bitcoin Congresses in history, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what we can accomplish. We've done a lot at the state level. We've been able to pass some incredible legislation, some Bitcoin rights bills, the right to mine, the right to self-custody. We've also worked on legislation to be able to help pensions and state treasuries to look into buying Bitcoin. But now, given the I think, progress that we've seen at the federal level, we are going to be able to pursue truly innovative policies that will unlock the potential of Bitcoin for our country and for the rest of the world.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And making the United States a powerhouse for the continued development and application of this technology, it's going to be really important. I do want to say, though, so when Bitcoin was first coming out, and there is still this fear, if you will, that Bitcoin was going to be used to completely take the place of fiat currency or the traditional dollar. And what I would say we've seen over recent years is that it's actually more of a parallel check, not a full replacement of, but a parallel check to fiat currency, especially as it's influenced by all sorts of things, including political outcomes, the U.S. dollar in particular, but you know, and Bitcoin, the value is obviously influenced by market dynamics, but I almost see them a future where they are working in tandem instead of just a few years ago, people really saw you were either on the side of the U.S. dollar and fiat currency or crypto, but there was no way for the two to coexist peacefully or successfully from an economic perspective. Would you agree with that or say it a little bit differently?
I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think that Bitcoin and the dollar can survive and thrive for many years to come together. And I also think that it's really valuable for those voters that care a lot about fiscal responsibility.
Oh, it seems that Dennis may have cut out on us just for a second. Hopefully he will come right back in as he was just getting into Bitcoin policy, and that the U.S. dollar and Bitcoin can actually coexist in a very strong and complementary role. Just a few years ago, again, there was a big fight, and I think it was a lot of fear-based rhetoric around a new technology, a new policy, some fear-mongering for sure. You know, one of the questions, and I hope we're able to bring Dennis back on. Hopefully it's just a connection issue. I know he's constantly trying